It's time for your daily LSU baseball update with Musso at the box. Now, Matt Musso.
Off and running. Welcome in another edition of Musso at the Box, presented by Gotlit Light Installers. Fired up to have you along for the ride. LSU, they know their path, and it's a really good one for the Tigers as the NCAA tournament was officially announced, the Field of 64 on Memorial Day. Here to break it all down for you on today's edition of Musso at the Box, and fired up to do so. We'll give a brief look at the four teams in the Baton Rouge Regional, look at LSU's path, how LSU is playing. We'll kind of just give your one giant overview before we dive deeper into the regional itself and previewing opponents as the week goes along. We'll also have another listener Q&A as the week goes along, as well as customary when postseason ball begins. But today is your giant overview, so smash the like button. Please, if you have not already, get subscribed to the YouTube channel and on your favorite podcast app. If you have not already, that we can take the show with you wherever you may go. Follow on social media, Twitter, X, at Musso Matthew. You can find me on Facebook and on Instagram as well. All of that is greatly appreciated. All right. So Selection Monday comes and goes. LSU is the number 6 national seed. That's one big check mark for you there. After you realize, yes, that was locked in stone and they were going to be that, and you have that checked off, any and all anxiety is gone. The rest of the show, the rest of the day turns to, okay, what is your tournament draw? And man, LSU, I could not love their draw any more than I do. The longer that show went along, and I'll tell you right now, first and foremost, why I love the draw. The longer that show went on, the more likely it looked like you were going to be paired with either Ole Miss or Tennessee. You dodged both of them. And I'm specifically happy that you dodged Tennessee because, as I have told you, I think Tennessee is one of the best teams in America, talent-wise. And if that team gets hot, they're capable of going and win the entire thing. So avoiding them was going to be paramount. And you did. I mean, that is the team that really can rival you in a 1-2 punch in the rotation, all of those things. You avoided them all the way up until potentially Omaha. That's the only time that you would see Tennessee. You also avoided Ole Miss. The Rebs, they're playing really good baseball now, played all the way to Sunday in the SEC tournament, and that was starting on a Wednesday, so they played extra games than you and all of that. You avoided both, and that's huge. You will not see an Omaha, a SEC team, provided Kentucky comes out of Clemson. If that doesn't happen, you would not see an SEC team until Omaha, and that's huge. Then you get into the actual Baton Rouge Regional itself, and you draw one of, if not the easiest 4 seed in the tournament based off of statistics, record, all of that. Arkansas Little Rock is one of 2 4 seeds in the country with a losing record. The other one is North Dakota State, and they got sent to Fayetteville. Also, North Dakota State was on your schedule. They made the NCAA tournament. Hat tip Jay Johnson there. So that's obviously great. Now, look, Little Rock, they're going to come in. They're going to play hard. They're going to play inspired. This is their chance. But LSU is the vastly superior team there, and you really could not ask for a better draw as your 4, especially when you look around the country and you see a team like Wright State heading up to Nashville. That's a great baseball program in Wright State. I can look up and see somebody like Murray State, who's right on the cusp of 40 wins, 39-13 as a 4 seed. That's like, ooh, man, you might want to keep an eye on that. Fairfield, same deal, right on the cusp of 40 wins. You don't have that. Arkansas Little Rock comes in at 24-32. So check. You look at your 3, Rhode Island. Okay, Rhode Island, champions of the Atlantic 10, won the regular season and their tournament. They're 38-20. It's awesome. They also had one of the lowest RPIs of anyone that made the NCAA tournament. So that's a positive. Your 2 seed, Dallas Baptist. Dallas Baptist is an awesome baseball team. Champions of the Conference USA as well as the conference tournament. They swept through it just like they needed to. And that's a really good team that's really talented, that you're very, very familiar with because you played them once already this year in the midweek. And look, you're expecting, with that type of draw, you are expecting chalk to hold in the Baton Rouge Regional and for LSU and DBU, to match up. And you should all remember the name Grant Jay. He's their catcher. He is a legitimate Major League Baseball prospect. 19 home runs to lead that team. He took you deep in Arlington when you played DBU earlier in the year. But again, you came through and you won that series. Just kind of like again, brief overview, as I said, of those teams. They have a nice three-headed monster in the rotation. Ryan Borberg, James Ellwanger, and then, of course, former Tiger Micah Bucknam made 12 starts for them and really came into a starting role, in conference play, for Dallas Baptist. Looking at it, they're talented, right? Like you'll respect the go of it. That's a three-headed rotation, a three-headed monster in the rotation. They've got 3 starters, so that's a team that's equipped for tournament ball, right? Oh, you beat them once, and they could come back through the losers bracket. They have that type of pitching. It's been a really good year on the mound for Dallas Baptist, but their hay is definitely on the offensive side of the ball. In a lot of ways, similar to LSU, but they do have a little bit more thump throughout the lineup. 3 guys with 14 or more home runs, but they also like to steal, so you'll have that. But we'll have much more time to get into Dallas Baptist. But overall, when you look at that for LSU, you're looking at no Power 4 teams in your regional. You got 3 mid-majors. That's a great draw. You look on the other side, and you see the Clemson Regional. And, man, look, just on the surface, Clemson, they'll deal with South Carolina Upstate as their 4, USC Upstate. West Virginia, they're 2, champions of the Big 12 regular season, and Kentucky as their 3, who was barely snuck in. I mean, Kentucky got in to this tournament kind of at the 11th hour, which I was surprised by. We talked about that a little bit because, Kentucky was one of those teams we were always kind of keeping an eye on, and now they're actually kind of on, they could end up in Baton Rouge in a sense. That's a team in Kentucky that I would tell you I think is the one who could really make things hard on Clemson, because Kentucky puts a lot of pressure on the opponent. Kentucky is battle-tested. They have played a lot of one-run games this year. They've lost most of them, which is why they snuck in, but it does show that they are competitive. If they could finally find their stride and get over the hump in those one-run games, it would not surprise me if Kentucky made it out of that regional. The other reason I say that is Clemson has struggled. Clemson has struggled with SEC teams in the postseason. 2 years ago, Tennessee was sent to Clemson. They came out of that regional in 2023, then beat Southern Miss to go to Omaha. A year ago, it was Florida in the Super Regional that went to Clemson and knocked them off to punch a ticket to Omaha. Clemson has not gotten out of their own regionals the last 2 years, whether it be Super or, the first round regional. And again, you see an SEC team show up there. Is it one of what you would call the weaker teams in Kentucky? Sure. But I look at that, and I know you see West Virginia like, oh, it's the Big 12 regular season champs. Here they are, right? 40-plus wins, just 14 losses. Man, they look great. But West Virginia won a share of what was one of the toughest league, one of the weakest leagues, in America. And down the stretch, that team faded, y'all. They faded down the stretch. Their last 2 series at Kansas State, lost 2 out of 3. Their final series against Kansas at home, they got swept and were shut out twice. Then they go to the Big 12 tournament, they go 1-1, and they're out. So you're looking at a team in West Virginia that has 2 wins in their last 8 games. They've lost 6 of 8 heading into this tournament. So I'm not overly threatened by West Virginia to win that Clemson Regional. If they do, I welcome that draw for LSU as well, because I think that's a team that their resume just isn't really strong, and they feasted on a really weak league in the Big 12 all year. And then when they finally played some of the teams closer to the top of it, they got beat. And in Kansas's case, it put them, winning a share of the league. So I mean, for the longest time, here you go. Look, West Virginia, they played Arizona, RPI top 30. They lost that series as well. Like whenever they played top competition, RPI wise, they lost. And even NCAA tournament wise, they lost. That doesn't bother me as much. I would point to Clemson or Kentucky actually coming out of that regional. I would like both draws for LSU. I think LSU Clemson at the box in a super would be awesome. I think that'd be a really, really cool environment to take part in and to witness. And I really like Eric Bakich. I think he's a great head coach. I think it's a matter of time until he gets over the hump. Obviously, you're hoping now that it's not this season. But, man, just a great draw for LSU. I could not love it really any more than I do. Because, again, no Power 4 teams in your regional. And you dodge the SEC for the most part, unless Kentucky comes out of Clemson. You need to go play your game. And look, I get it. There's some things we could look at with LSU right now, and I'm not going to sit here and tell you they're a perfect team. They aren't. They're flawed. The offense is what it is. Like, it is what it is at this point. LSU has played now, 57 games. 57 games on the year. The offense is what it is. They are a unit that is excellent at home and not so great away from home. That was shown again in the SEC tournament. LSU scored 4 runs over 2 games in the SEC tournament, and they got shut out for the first time in 2 years. When LSU got shut out against Ole Miss that Saturday in the SEC tournament, that was the first time since April 15th of 2022. They faced Hagen Smith, a freshman Hagen Smith that day. That was the last time LSU had been shut out since Saturday. You got 2 hits in that ballgame. Yeah, Hay was in the barn. You'd burn both your aces, whatever, fine. Getting 2 hits and being shut out is not acceptable at all. But in the 35 games you've played at home, you've averaged 9 runs. I would expect that to continue, especially given the quality of pitching. I mean this in no disrespect to Dallas Baptist, because I have all the respect in the world for that team and that program, and they're very good, and they have talent. Like, you're going to see good arms. But they're not SEC team. They're not an SEC team. They just aren't. LSU should be able to hit the ball well going through this. And if they play their game, this should be a path paved in gold for LSU to Omaha. It really should be. If they play their game, they have to go out and execute. I'm not telling you they will, but they have to go do that. One thing I love about LSU is they are pitching their ass off at the right point of the season. And LSU has pitched well for the majority of this year. They had their issues with walks and free passes and whatnot, but for the most part, you've had a great 1-2 all season long, and you've had 2 guys at the back end of your bullpen, and that's massive. That's what you have to have. You can get a 3rd starter. That's a luxury in college baseball. We always harp on it and talk about it, but that's a luxury in college baseball. And the whole conversation was, okay, who else can emerge? Who else can emerge? And now you've really seen 3 guys emerge. And Chase Shores is throwing the ball awesome right now. And I love having him in the bullpen or available for a spot start. Jaden Newt, I thought, pitched very well against Mississippi. Against Ole Miss in the SEC tournament. He walked just 2, but he punched out 7 in 4 innings. 1 earned run given up. Now the problem was he committed the error that caused that helped the other run, reach and advance in scoring position. But he pitched well after giving up the solo homer in the first, and then got you through 4. Like, he got you off to a great start. Chase Shores shutout ball for 2 2/3. Didn't give up a hit. Jacob Myers. How about Jacob Myers, y'all? That's a huge development for this team potentially going into the NCAA tournament. 2 1/3 perfect innings for Jacob Myers. No hits, didn't give up a run, didn't walk anybody in 2 1/3 and punched out 4. That's huge. If that's what you're going to get out of this kid in the NCAA tournament, that's a massive weapon, because it's another dude coming in throwing 96, 97 with just a straight over the top downhill delivery. Like, that is the most encouraging thing that came out of the SEC tournament, in my opinion, for LSU, was that outing from Jacob Myers. And the fact that Shores and Myers out of your bullpen provided to not combined to not give up a hit or a run in 5 innings pitched. That's awesome. That is awesome. I mean, LSU is pitching they're pitching excellent at the right time. Like if that's what we're going to get from Myers, and you go in to the NCAA tournament with a bullpen of Cowan, Evans, Myers, Shores, Newt, Anderson, Ianson, that's 7. We always point to 7. Those 2 starters and those 5 out of the pen, you have 7, you have a shot. And if you fall into a loser's bracket, you need others to step up. But haven't you seen that at points this season with a guy like Maverick Rizzi, for instance, Cooper Williams. And another huge thing was you rested Cowan and Evans the entire tournament. You've asked so much of those guys throughout this season. I mean, Cowan's at 45 1/3 innings pitched. Evans is at 41 1/3. So you were able to get those guys rest. I think that's huge going forward. I love where LSU's at from a pitching standpoint, and that's going to give them a shot in every single game they play in the NCAA tournament, every single one. What you're hoping is your offense plays to the potential that it has at home this season. You make it to Omaha, and then you see if you can't play your best ball in Omaha for a week and a half and win the program's 8th national championship. And I know what you're going to say. There's no way with the offense. You can't do it with the offense. And look, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that they're going to. I'm going to tell you that they can. Because there was a lot of people, when they went to Omaha in 2023, there was no way they were going to get it done with the pitching. They didn't have the pitching to do it. And then they fell into the loser's bracket. And you got step-up performances from Nate Ackenhausen and Griffin Herring and all those guys that we know about. The same thing can happen in Omaha offensively. The same thing can. So just get there. And the other thing is, if you get there and you lose, fine. You would rather your season end in Omaha than anywhere else. Every year. Because if you get there, you've done something right and you've played well. And that in of itself is an achievement. Everybody wants to win the national championship. It's hard. But LSU's got a great path in this NCAA tournament to get there and potentially do it. That's the big takeaway. That is the big takeaway. And playing at home, I think they have an awesome shot. A quick look at LSU's opponent for Friday afternoon, 2 p.m. That would be Arkansas Little Rock. Again, they are tournament champions out of the OVC, hitting 274 as a team, just 60 home runs. So it's not a powerful lineup. And the team ERA is 5.51. I mean, you would expect to see their ace. That's Hoss Brewer, which is a fantastic name. And look, he's been pretty good. 101 strikeouts and 84 1/3 innings pitched. I'm not going to tell you it'll be overpowering stuff, but he's definitely got the strikeout ability there. Does Hoss Brewer. He's got a sub-4 ERA. So that is their top guy, and you will see him on Friday, and we'll get you a little bit more on him kind of as the week goes along. And then just a quick look at Rhode Island as well, who is your 3 seed, and LSU could end up pairing off against. As we said, once again, regular season and tournament champions out of the Atlantic 10. They hit 309 as a ball club, 85 home runs. They pack a little bit of punch. 4 guys in the lineup over double-digit home runs, 3 with 15 or more. Anthony DePino leads with 19, and then Reese Maroney is their leading hitter. For what it's worth, LSU has not played a team out of the Atlantic 10 or the OVC this year. OVC, sometimes they will dip into that. On the mound for Rhode Island, it's a 6.20 ERA as a team. The opponent hits 255 off of their staff as a collective. So, that's a team that's going to have to burn their ace facing Dallas Baptist. That'd be Tristan Levesque, and he's been a pretty darn good one. Their number 2 all year has been Jeremy Urena. So say they do get past say they do get past Dallas Baptist, your Reina would most likely be the one you would see if you're LSU. He is not an overpowering guy whatsoever, but is 6-1 on the year, so they normally win behind him. Does Rhode Island? All right, that's kind of your overview. That's my thoughts on it all. Excited. I love LSU's path, as I've said multiple times through here. You couldn't have asked for a better one. I don't think LSU could have scripted. If you handed LSU a blank bracket and said, fill in who you want to play, I don't think LSU could have scripted this better. Now, that does not mean they're going to win it. Let me be perfectly clear. That doesn't mean that. They have to go out there and play their brand of baseball and execute. But if they do that, LSU is the best and most complete team in this regional, and they should come out of it, and then we'll see who comes out of Clemson. But overall, when you look at the bracket, I love what LSU has in front of them. And I think I'll tell you right now, LSU should be in Omaha after 2 weeks. They should be. They got to play well, but LSU should be in Omaha after the next 2 weeks with what lays out in front of them. So we'll talk plenty more about pitching decisions and all of that. I'm sure that'll be very much included in our listener Q&A and things of that nature, which I'll put out a call for questions here on Twitter soon. So be on the lookout for that, and we'll knock that out. And then we'll get into, all the teams a little bit and just kind of roll with it. So, y'all smash the like button, please. Get subscribed if you have not already. YouTube channel and on your favorite podcast app. Share. That's greatly appreciated. And be here next time for more on Musso at the Box.